Hoi there, it's Skyward Shield. Welcome to Football Talks. I am joined by Bill. Say hello, Bill.
Hey, hey, hey! What is up?
The divisional round's over. We are now going to the conference championships, and I did not like some of the results. I have mixed feelings. Now only one team I like has made it through.
Yep,
We'll start with
unfortunately.
we'll start with the team that did make it through, the New England Patriots. I did not think the Ravens would stay in it all the way to the end.
that game, that New England showed, New England showed tons of resiliency in that game. I turned it off after the first quarter, after New England was starting to get beat upon 14 to nothing. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna watch the Patriots get beat down.
I fell asleep in the fourth quarter because I was nearly up for 24 hours.
Oh man, hey, at least you made it there though. I mean, I wouldn't have blamed you to after the first quarter to be like, oh my god, I'm turning
I
this
knew it
off and
wouldn't
going to
go that
bed.
way so easily. I did not think it'd happen. New
I mean,
England's the best at second half adjustments.
yeah, they always make the second half adjustments and they always know the rule book. But we'll get to that later.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I don't. You have a thing against the Ryan brothers. I have a thing against the Harbaugh brothers. No,
Oh man. No.
when you brought up the calls thing, I just remembered what he was complaining about. He got a flag for it.
Yep.
But
I mean,
good. I didn't see the first touchdown though. Who got the first? Was it Brady? He tried to run in for one. I think.
yeah,
Did he
I
get
think
it?
that I'm not sure to be honest. I think he did, but I'm not sure.
Because I think there's a flag at the same time. But if they did get a flag, how did they get a touchdown? I thought they would have had to make a field goal.
Right. I'm pretty sure he did, but basically the play is having a typical eligible guy being reporting in and or a typically eligible receiver was ineligible and there was eligible people and the Ravens were confused and John Harbaugh was having a volcanic eruption on the sideline
Made me
and
happy.
I mean that that play just sort of shows what New England's all about. They know the rule book, they read the rule book, they know what's within the rules, and if you don't prepare and keep your eyes on that rule book, they'll pull something out that you have no idea about, and they will use it to their advantage.
I saw I think Al and Chris, the announcers said it. They said that they talk to when it comes to plays like that, they always talk to the refs, make sure they're okay.
Right.
It's like, hey, can you do this play? The refs will always they know of all the trick plays. So if in case they do happen, they'll be able to know how it's supposed to go.
Correct.
But that
And
one went perfectly according to plan.
right. I mean, it's a smart, genius move by a Hall of Fame, one of the greatest head coaches of all time. But overall, that game, you sort of saw the resiliency of the New England Patriots. This is why they're always there at the end. They have a Hall of Fame quarterback. He somehow finds a way to defeat you, even when you're down 14 twice. They still find a way to come back and win games, and that's sort of the magic of the New England Patriots.
They didn't even go with the run that much. Neither team really tried to go with the run as much. They just stuck to the pass. And if you know statistics, Flacco, if he has to throw 30 or more times, he's always lost. At least
Yeah,
in the regular season.
I, they force. I kind of feel bad for Flacco because they kind of force Flacco to do things kind of stupidly, but I mean that's what the New England Patriots are good at doing. They force you to do stuff in a different way. They took away Justin Forsett from that game. They take away your best thing, and you have to go and do something else. The best thing that Baltimore had going for them, Justin Forsett, the running game. Everything off of that run is built off that running game. You take that away, you limit the Baltimore Ravens to being one-dimensional and trying to do bootlegs from runs that you know aren't coming.
I will say, though, they also had their defense, which was shredding the offensive line for a good chunk of the game.
Yeah.
They sacked Brady a lot. I think 5 times, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens came to play. They were not afraid of going into
They're never afraid of the Patriots in postseason.
which is a good thing because really that's how teams beat the Patriots. That's the recipe to beating the Patriots. You can't be enamored by the stadium and who you're playing against and
Or
all the
intimidated.
history. Yeah, or intimidated.
That's
you
the
go in-
key. If fear is a mighty tool.
Exactly. If you can conquer that, I feel like the Ravens have the perfect game plan for going to New England, and no one else follows. And it also depends if you have the personnel to follow that.
That's why
plan.
That's why the Jets are that one team that always gives the Patriots a rough time because Rex Ryan is not afraid of Belichick. And just when I thought he wouldn't have to deal with him anymore, you know what happened to Rex Ryan, right?
Yeah.
I think he wanted to join the Bills now just to rub it in the face of the Jets, not the fans, because he knows the fans like him, but he wants to rub it into the to the owner and some of the staff at the New York group.
I personally feel like the Jets are going to be Rex Ryan's new pinata. He's instead of targeting the Patriots, he's going to target the New York Jets as the team to just draw his ire out on.
I think he's going to go one game at home, or not home. By home, I mean over there.
Yeah.
That's when he's going to have fun.
It'll be interesting if the NFL decides, you know what we should do? Have the Buffalo Bills go to the New York Jets week 1.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what they're thinking. What a great way.
What a perfect way to open the season. Oh, Rex Ryan's coming to New York. I mean, could you imagine? Because that's a huge market. They can market that game to the New York audience. The New York audience is going to want to kick the shit out of Rex Ryan's
There's only
team.
one game I think that can go beyond that. New York v. New York.
Yeah, that too. I feel
the Giants hosting the Jets.
I feel like that's going to be like a Monday Night Football game.
I'm pretty sure that's going to be Monday or Thursday. I don't think it'll be on Sunday. It's got to have its own little spot.
You have to have good teams to be on Sunday Night Football.
No, I know, yeah. I actually wanted to do... I had the idea of what if we predicted one, but I thought that was a little too obscure. So that was just a thought, but I'm just saying the Patriots might have things a little more rough because the Jets already are not afraid, even without Rex Ryan. They're not afraid of the Patriots. They know that they've knocked them down a couple times. So
it really all depends what they hire as a head coach next. If it's an offensive-minded guy, the Patriots are going to smack around the Jets. And if it's a defensive-minded guy, it might be more of the same with the Jets and the Patriots.
Yeah, but let's hope that the guy doesn't draft a linebacker again.
I mean,
They also drafted the Jets hired what's his name? I forget the guy's name, but he worked with the Texans. He's the new GM.
I have not
I think his first name's Mike.
McCanaha.
I don't know his name was weird. But yeah,
Yeah,
he worked with Houston. Now he's gonna work with the Jets. So well, at least it wasn't the staff. But,
right.
so yeah, back to this game. I don't have much to say aside from I'm glad New England is still the best second half adjusting team because they've just found ways to make room for Gronk and their other wide receivers. They
Yep.
did not need the run game because it was just impossible with the front seven of Baltimore. Don't you?
Yeah, I mean,
They don't have Arian Foster or just Le'Veon Bell who can put a formidable fight. So they just stuck to the pass.
yeah, that's another of the genius things that Bill Belichick does. So he sees what they're gonna try to take away from from him, and then he game plans against that. So he goes, oh, okay, they're gonna try to stop my running game, so I'm going to have Brady throw the football over the lot until they can stop him. Like seriously, they ran the football a little bit at the beginning of the game, did the Patriots, and then they just stopped running the football and just threw it all over the place. Like setting up the run to fail and make the other team think it's failing and that they should keep doing it. And then they're like, okay, now we're gonna do what we really want to do and start throwing the football off of play action passes like we're gonna keep running. It's a devious trick and kind of it's a really smart trick. I feel like that's what New England's doing. Sort of lulling teams into a false sense of security.
Good, and I can't wait for it to happen to whoever plays them after this next game. Well, pretty sure they'll beat Indy. I think we've all agreed upon that, but then we doubted Indy twice this so far in the playoffs, and look at what they've done.
I mean, to be fair, Indianapolis's defense is suspect at most. They played really well against Peyton Manning, but Peyton Manning was playing with a torn quad, so I mean he was out there with one leg.
I'm
I
amazed
mean,
they didn't stick to the run. They switched to the pass pretty fast.
yeah, they switched to the pass pretty fast. I mean, really,
I'd like to think if they stuck with the run, they might have been what 20. They might have had 20. They would have been in the
yeah.
game, I think. But they didn't stick to the run. They didn't do like what Dallas would do. In fact, I'm kind of sad that Peyton's out, or like he's likely going to retire because I do want to see one more Romo v Manning, or Peyton. I mean, because they already have a Manning every year, twice. So
To be
yeah. What?
yeah, to be fair, I don't think he might not be gone totally yet. I mean, the writing's on the wall with the head coach not being there, but I mean, you never know. The offensive coordinator could stay and become the head coach.
Yeah, because I doubt Peyton wants to go through another learning process. But hell, he's not going to be learning. He's going to be the one teaching.
I mean, to be fair, he's done everything in the NFL that you can do. I mean, there's really nothing else. He's a legend. He's the greatest quarterback to ever live. I mean, it's debatable.
Don't tell Wisconsin that.
I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. Aaron Rodgers might be a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's no denying that. But he didn't change the game like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning changed the game.
I think Andrew Luck is changing the game, being
Andrew
being mobile enough
Andrew,
too. I think he's more mobile than Rodgers, even when Rodgers was the same age.
To be fair, Rodgers is not. I think he's stuck in between two eras. He's just mobile enough to get out of stuff, and he's got the crazy accuracy to play as a pocket passer. I think he's in between eras. I feel Russell Wilson and Andrew Luck are the new era of quarterback until they hit about 30, and then they'll start learning progressions, etc. I mean, really, Luck is Manning just with being able to run.
Yeah, but the only difference is Russell is built to run. He always wants to run when he sees a spot. Luck only runs when he feels he needs to, and that's when you want to push him into the need to run state, because he will run you over.
I'll also put it this way: I don't think Andrew Luck or any quarterback that's playing right now is ever going to break Manning's touchdown record, and I don't think Brady is going to get there either.
Yeah, the way if Luck plays every year like he does and constantly be like have the highest touchdown rate, who knows? But that's if he can consistently play that way, which I doubt it, because you might have a breakout year and then you're gonna probably. He has yet to be riddled with an injury. It's gonna happen sooner or later.
At a point, Peyton Manning in the mid 2000s, yeah, I mean, you could pencil that team in for a 15-1 season and feel confident that they would do it. And every year they'd be 14-2, and he had 45 touchdowns. I mean, that's the sort of stuff he's a face of a generation. He's a face of a style of quarterbacking, and I feel like, when all those anti-defense rules occurred because of Peyton Manning, because his offenses were getting stopped. So, what a better way by the NFL, hey, look at our numbers. Ratings since 2000 have shot through the roof. Peyton Manning's been in the NFL since 1998, 1999. And ever since he's put up all those huge, crazy numbers, ratings have went straight through the roof.
Yeah, this began the era of the passing game.
Yep, right. And I feel like that's never going to stop now. It's a new normal in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't like it. I like the run. I don't know. Anyway.
But that was my final thought about the AFC side of that. New England just showed a lot of heart, and it shows why they're going to be going on to the next round to play Indy.
Yeah, I still don't understand how Indy did it, but whatever. They're gonna get wrecked by Bill Belichick again.
Yep, I mean they know a team's strengths and weaknesses, and the weakness of the Indianapolis Colts is the run game. You force them to run the football. You cover their wide receivers. You dare them to run the football. Until they run the football, you keep allowing them to run, because really no one's going to get any chunk plays on you in the run game compared to the pass game.
Anyway, let's move on to the team that didn't make it, who I thought had the chance. They didn't get it. Dallas went against Green Bay, which they called the second ice bowl. That's a load of bullshit, because last year when San Fran went to Green Bay, that was worthy of being called the second ice bowl. That was one of the coldest games on record.
Yeah.
And where they had to give out free warm drinks like coffee and cocoa and all that to the crowd for free, or else somebody would have passed out. And they don't want to be responsible for it.
Right.
So anyway, despite that being false advertising, and as much as I'd love to sue, Dallas was in it. They were in the lead for most of the game, but then they made some very crucial mistakes. Particularly the one that people keep discussing is the new controversial call, the new pass interference. Though it's not a pass interference, it's an incompleted pass. I know that made you happy, Bill. In fact, it was reminiscent to your Megatron catch against the Bears a few years ago. By today's rules, that would have been a touchdown. You just have to get both feet in, and and that's it. If Dez actually crossed the plane, with his arm extending out, he would have been in for a touchdown, even if the ball came out, I believe. It just has to pass the plane. That's it.
Yep.
So that was one thing. So Bill remembers that. People can look it up because it's not that hard to find on the internet because it's a pretty
Right.
infamous call. When I saw it, I'm like, wow. Today's standards, that would have been a touchdown. No debate about that.
Right.
He just had to
No.
get both his feet in. You've seen other times where players jump up, get it, and then they drop it like
Yep.
afterwards.
I mean, I don't even want to think back to that Calvin Johnson play because that catch that catch still makes me sick. That was overturned.
Yeah, but the refs tend to
And
pick.
it was only a regular season game.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it,
But
but oh well. Anyway, so going back to this game, Dallas, I think played well because I figured somebody was going to knock them off, and I hoped it was Dallas. But fun fact, Dallas will be going to Green Bay again next year, and that's going to be a grudge match, which I guarantee you will be on NBC. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping Dallas will shit on Green Bay next year when they get a better defense. But anyway, so
I hope so too.
the run game was solid. The passing game, well, Romo threw better than he threw way better than Rodgers did. And before the fence, like, oh, he was injured. Oh no, I don't want to hear that. Plus, I could assure you this. You know how I used that example when the Lions play Green Bay? How that was a perfect sob story for his MVP case, and how you could literally make a movie about that, where he, the protagonist, goes down, and then
Oh
people
God.
are worried. He comes out, the crowd goes roaring. This is the perfect cop-out
It was
sequel to it.
it was the perfect way to make the game feel bigger about himself. Oh, my leg! Oh, God! I got discount double check my leg to make sure it's okay.
Yeah, so anyway, it was the perfect sob story where look, a better team comes out to play and was ahead of them for the whole game, kept him in check, and then he somehow comes back from it all and wins the game for them.
Yep. But I won't lie. I won't lie. I was very happy that it happened.
If you ever pick Green Bay, I'm gonna immediately call you out and say you're a closet Green Bay fan. I'm
That
just
was my
warning you now.
last. That was my last time I'm ever picking Green Bay in another game. But I mean, to be fair, uh, I felt like Dallas fans were giving us a really hard time when we had a legitimate case of pass interference, and we should have moved on because really, as in the words of Des Bryant after that game, you know, the better team didn't win. The better team didn't win against Detroit Dallas. The better team was Detroit in that game. Period. I mean, so really it would have been Detroit Seattle, and really Dallas shouldn't have even been there. And I felt like I, I won't lie. I felt pretty good about it. I feel bad for Dallas fans for having to go through it, just like we went through
Because,
it.
well, the refs are biased to Green Bay, but I kinda called that. Saw
Yeah,
that
I
coming.
mean, I don't expect my Detroit Lions to get calls against Dallas. It's just not going to happen. Detroit's not going to get calls against Dallas. It's not going to happen
Well,
because
you're not gonna get called
we're
against Green Bay either.
we're the Detroit Lions. The Detroit part of it immediately gives you like this stigma of being, you know, oh, well, time to throw a flag, it's Detroit. Time to throw a flag, it's Detroit. Until that stigma goes away, you know, we're gonna get flags. Until we get if you really notice, if you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, you get calls. Tom Brady. Look at that game against, look at that game against Baltimore. Baltimore was getting flagged kind of a lot.
Yeah,
Denver, Indy.
like with
Denver,
the
Denver had 2 penalties.
cost them the game. Not even Peyton didn't do good enough. But
Green,
oh, when you
Green
were
Bay
saying
against
Baltimore got flagged, even the coach got flagged.
exactly. I mean, if you really look at it, whoever has the Hall of Fame quarterback or the perceived better quarterback, you know, gets the flags. You know, and they know how to work the refs. The Hall of Famers know how to work the refs to get advantageous situations. And Rodgers knows how to work a ref. It's a fact. He's always talking to him. He's always conversing. He's always pointing things out towards the refs. Hey, look out! This guy was going low for my legs.
Do you
To
know how many times there should have been flags for roughing the passer on Romo that were missed?
exactly.
I can understand the one on the touchdown pass because that was a touchdown pass. You're gonna look to see if the ball connects. But other times, Romo got knocked down on his he got knocked down on his legs. He got suplexed to the ground almost. No flags.
Exactly. But
I noticed that myself. How did they? I don't understand how they can't look through replays to throw a flag. Do you know how much of a game changer that would literally be? If a crucial, like you know how there are some times where they miss a call for pass interference,
yeah,
but if
I
they looked
mean,
at the replay, the coaches say, "Hey, look at that. That's a clear flag. That's a clear roughing the passer. You should give them a flag for that."
right. I mean, like I always said, you know, I feel like if if you give the coaches the ability to uh, throw the challenge flag and only get one challenge per game, but also give them the ability to challenge penalties, it's it's a it's a game changer. So that way the referees are taken out of the game. You know, even if there's a bad call, the bad call gets taken out of the game, and everything's fixed. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's an area where you can use instant replay because really nowadays they review all touchdowns and all turnovers. So really, what's left to be coach challenged? Spot of the football, which can be easily solved by putting chips in the footballs and in the field. So what would left be to be challenged? Flags, 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 or if it's a catch or not. That's really all that's left to be challengeable.
Well, so speaking of catches, let's talk about the Dez catch.
Oh
The
yeah.
whole big debate is did he catch it? According to Odell Beckham, which everybody considers him the god of wide receivers, even though it's been a first year, saying that wasn't a catch. But mind you, he's a giant. Are you going to
Right.
take his word against, since you know Dallas is his rival?
I'm the now coming off of that, Calvin Johnson fiasco and how I still think it's a catch. I'm the come out here, and say that I believe that it was down by contact because he was down at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can see how it is a incomplete pass as well because the ball was actually literally not in his hand. It was riding up his shoulder.
How that's not a catch? Yet you got Terrell Suggs intercept a ball between his legs. That's okay.
He,
I
he had possession of the football. You know, the if, where the ball wasn't actually touching the ground. He had it squeezed in between his legs. You're technically possessing the football. Now, what's that? In the Dez Bryant case, he only had one hand on the football. He was using the ground to pin the football.
Big mistake.
If you were to catch a football like that, and it was to be reviewed by coach's challenge, that would be an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see it being an incomplete pass. I mean,
You know what I say that undid it all? The one thing that undid it all is that he made the extra effort. Now, granted, it's a split decision moment. He tried to throw up the X. He tried to go and take it all home because that's Dez's character. Let's be real. The fact he did, if he never actually tried to reach out for the touchdown, that'd be a little surprising at it, to be honest. You won't realize it then and there, but if you look back on on a replay or like a game rewind or something, like, why didn't he try and reach out for it? That would be the question. Why didn't he reach out and take it all? But no, he tried to take the gold and throw up the X, and it cost them the game.
my biggest question about that entire thing was the thought process of going for it all on 4th and 2 and not going for the first down. Just go for the first down, get a 5-yard route, live to see another play, and that way you have the first down and you can still keep moving the football, killing more clock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they can't kill the clock. They can knock out a whole quarter just by running the damn ball.
Exactly. Really, all they needed to do was get 2 yards. They didn't need 30 and trying for a touchdown. You need 2 yards. You have arguably one of the best receivers in the game. Get him to do a 2 or 3 yard route. Live to see another play. 2 to 3 yard routes are very hard to stop in the NFL. I mean,
yeah,
seriously,
Rodgers was doing that all over you.
Exactly, and I mean, Jason Witten, you have one of the great tight ends. The walking third down conversion. It's 4th and 2. You think you can squeeze a football into Jason Witten when your season's on the line and you've been, moving up and down the field, converting third downs? He's a walking first down. All you need to do is get the ball to him. Run DeMarco Murray. You have the best offensive line. I mean, if you really felt convinced, you could run out of a pass look and get 2 yards. There's a lot of stuff that they could have done in that situation that I feel like going for a home run ball is probably the last thing you want to do because it has the worst possibility of succeeding.
It's funny, you're ranting way more than me, and that's because I thought I'd be the one ranting, but I'm more calm about this now that time passed.
Yeah, I was furious. I won't lie. I'm still kind of ticked off about that game. It's been a week.
So I guess I'll start with this. That ball was a good throw by Romo. That was actually really good. It was within Dez's range. It's not like he was reaching out just to get it by his fingers like, say, Odell Beckham would try to do. It was easy to grab. The error goes on him. Because if he brought it to his chest and just dropped down, or at least gone out of bounds, that would have been a catch, and they would have been 1st and goal at around less than the 5.
Yep.
That's all he had to do, but like I said, he tried to reach for it. He tried to take it home and throw up the X, because it's in his character. It's expected of Dez. He's the egocentric wide receiver. They tend to do that. Compared if you get a more modest one out there, which I guess Calvin is the only one basing on his character.
Right.
So
you wouldn't see Calvin Johnson, trying to go egotistical and try to, do that. I mean, I'll put it this way. I feel like Dez did a huge disservice to the team, both on the field and off the field, but we'll talk about the off the field after, because I felt like he was very disrespectful to the Green Bay Packers. You know,
I was. I don't blame him.
I mean, I can't blame him for being upset. I can, but just sort of take the high road. You know, it sort of plays into the narrative of him. You know, instead of taking the high road, he goes, "Oh well, the better team didn't win today." You know, the better team didn't win the week before, but you didn't say nothing then.
Well,
I mean,
I'll need to remind you what Rogers said. I think they did a good job at reffing the game, or something like that. That's basically what he said. He said he
yeah.
thought the refs did a good job. Yeah, they did a good job for you, man. I don't think they're going to do a great job for you when Seattle gets 20 flags but still beats you 27-7.
Oh, Seattle's gonna kick the shit out of them. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
It's like, yeah,
Seattle's going.
they can flag you. They can flag them just for existing and they'll still kick your ass.
I mean, literally, Jordy Nelson's on beyond the ground crying like a little bitch in that game.
I just want Rogers to cry like a little shit. I just want his hopes to be crushed.
How about this? Both of them just get knocked down and they're crying like little bitches. Because that's all that they do. That's what they're good at.
The only ones I want to see crying are Green Bay fans, because I had nacho cheese today, and then I should have thought to myself, you know what? This is going to be Green Bay after Sunday, and I'm going to enjoy it. In fact, after that game, I will specifically make some nachos. And eat.
I bet you.
And it will be fun.
I bet you in your mind's eye there, man, that you envisioned the Seahawk flying on that guy's head, and you thought you just pictured a giant block of cheese, and there's the Seahawk landing on it, and
It's taking away the cheese.
Exactly.
Like, this will go great with all the fish we have. I don't know.
Exactly. But I mean,
I just can't wait, Bill. I can't wait for the despair that's coming to Green Bay's way. And even if they somehow beat Seattle,
they're not beating New England twice.
Oh, you're on Belichick's naughty list. You're dead. Well, everybody's on his list, but there's a special spot for little shits that get in his way, like New York, like the Giants. I mean, well, both of them.
I'll put it this way: if Brady wins a Super Bowl this year, he might retire after the season.
I think he'll go one more. But
possible.
Anyway, so Bill, it's time I continue my rant. I'm not even that mad about it, actually. I'm more calm about it this time than I expected. My biggest problem with this game was the defense, though I will give credit where credit is due. Sorry, Bill. Dallas did a way better job at sacking Rodgers. They actually got to him more than Detroit did. They even fumbled the ball, and the rookie redeemed himself even more. You know, the one that picked up the Matthew Stafford fumble, then dropped that fumble? That guy. He did it again. Oh, well, he didn't drop it. He took another fumble. Smart kid to just drop and get it. That's what you should do, unless there's literally nobody near you. Then you run it. Or you're J.J. Watt, which he can run it, because he's not going to drop a ball. So, yeah. I as much as I'll give them where that credit is due, the secondary did not do so great. Rodgers tore them apart.
Yeah, oh man.
I think he tears up any defense, to be fair. He gave them the same whipping as much as I say Detroit, and Detroit has the better secondary with Glover Quinn and all of them.
Overall, Aaron Rodgers still struggles against amazing defenses.
That seems to be amazing overall, which I don't know how Detroit couldn't do that this time, but I think that's just... I think Green Bay over-prepared for that. They might have been preparing since Tampa Bay.
I mean, if you really think about it, Detroit and Green Bay, that game, really, if Green Bay wouldn't have even scored as many points as they did if the special teams of Detroit didn't give them the game on a silver platter. There was a kickoff return for a touchdown in that game. It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers did anything really super they turned him into the mega star. But the Lions were in that game for most of that game. It's not like they just, laid down and died for him. They gave him a fight. It wasn't like Rodgers was killing them. It was more the special teams of the Lions were killing the Lions, not the Packers. The Packers weren't. The Packers played decent on offense, but they didn't really. Aaron Rodgers threw more picks in that game than he had in any game prior. I mean, I would say that really the Lions special teams unit, I mean, they kicked the ball out of bounds, giving Aaron Rodgers the ball at the 40-yard line. You need to drive, 20, 30 yards and you're in field goal range? That's a typical drive in the NFL. I mean, I feel like they struggle against good defenses, and really Dallas's front four, maybe decent, and they got in there, but, Green Bay's offensive line is terrible.
The rookie's getting better at least. At least he's caught making them fumble more.
Yeah, Green Bay's offensive line is terrible. I mean, anyone's getting in there and hitting Rodgers. Let's just put it that way.
They're just doing good enough to let him throw quickly. Because if he's going for a quick throw, nobody's getting to him. I don't even know what would reach him in time.
That was another thing that was happening in the Detroit game. He was getting the ball out of his hand so fast they couldn't get to him.
It's like, that's why I said Andrew Luck is the best thing. I think that's another example. He throws the ball way too quickly. You have to hope he takes his time, and you have to literally cover everybody perfectly in order to make him to waste some time, and then somebody like Watt can reach him. All I'm hoping for in 2 years when Houston and the AFC South take on the NFC North, I really hope Jadeveon Clowney made a name for himself, because if Watt's not reaching for Aaron Rodgers for the discount double check, I hope Clowney will. But,
oh man!
I'll just leave this game on this note. Dallas did about as much as I expected. This game was the biggest toss-up out of all of them. So,
yeah.
The fact that Green Bay won, and even if Dallas won, it wouldn't have been too surprising to people. It could have gone either way.
Either way, they were running into Seattle, and the way Seattle's playing, I don't see how anyone in the NFC would have beat them. The only team that had a shot was Detroit, and they lost.
I have Detroit and maybe Dallas, because Dallas was still the best road team. Beat them once, and then I heard that Seattle lost one of their needed secondary players. I forget who it was. Though, what's his name? Something Chancellor stepped up with that pick six and jumping over players to block that field goal.
I mean, they have Cam Chancellor. They still have Sherman. They still have Earl Thomas.
All I know is that that one player. I think it's a defensive player, like on the front, that he's missed. He was one of the players meant for stopping the run.
Oh, yeah.
That's the problem. So if Dallas moved on, that would have been great news for them, because they would have been abusing that spot easily.
Right. They wouldn't. I think it would have been a very long day for Dez.
Yeah.
Though.
But anyway, so let's do something different, because the seasons are over for most of the teams. The only team I care about that's still in this is New England, which I believe they will take it all. I hope so. I want one more, so that way Belichick has no doubt to be the best coach of all time, because if Green Bay wins one more, the fans are going to get a little more rebellious. Every time they do something good, that fan base keeps pushing the world, saying, "Oh, look, we're the best." I'll put it
here.
What?
Here's the biggest stat that makes New England and Belichick be one of the best of all time. This is their 9th AFC title game.
Yeah, let that sink in. Green Bay, at least under McCarthy and Rodgers, how many times have they gone to a title game? Do you know?
Maybe
This
twice.
might be their
This
might be
might
their
be third
third.
time.
Yeah, so but you know the fans, they're spoiled.
New England. This is their ninth time in the AFC title game, and they've went to 5 Super Bowls.
Like there's
I mean,
okay, to me, what's an overzealous team in other sports? Because I mean, we have teams like the Lakers, well, before they started to suck, which I'm glad for. The Yankees before they also started to suck, and I can't think of an overrated
oh,
hockey team.
you mean like like
That the fan base that's so spoiled, so obnoxious, and still think they always think they're top dog because of their
well,
past.
it in hockey.
Boston?
I'm gonna sound like a pretty much a hypocrite because I'm a huge fan of this team. It's the Detroit Red Wings.
Are they the
I
cocky ones? They can't be. I'm pretty sure it's Boston.
My Red Wings have been in the playoffs
Oh,
for
oh, I know
23
who it is.
straight years.
I know who it is. It's either Vancouver or Toronto. Which one's the one that rioted when their team lost in the
Toronto. Oh no, that was Vancouver. They
There you
lost
go.
in the
There's the
Stanley
perfect
Cup
example.
Finals.
That's what Green Bay reminds me of. Those teams, their fan base, I mean, those teams that believe that if they don't win it, they just think they're going to be the best thing forever. Because the difference between Patriots fans and Green Bay fans is that the Patriots fans can back it up. They can back it up with Belichick and Brady. With the stats you just laid down on me, you could use the 9 titles, and don't tell me the AFC sucks, because I predict the AFC in the next 5 years will win 3 out of 5 Super Bowls. The three AFC teams that go to the Super Bowl, which one of them is going to be the Patriots. Another one I
Right.
think will be the Colts whenever they go back or go there with Andrew Luck, because I can guarantee you Luck has a Super Bowl trophy with his name someday.
Oh yeah, that's almost guaranteed. I mean, it, there you could make a case that he's probably the number 2 quarterback in the league right now.
I think he will be the top 3 next year, especially if Peyton's out of the picture. I think it's going to be
I,
him, Roethlisberger, surprisingly, because if Roethlisberger did this good this year, I'm really worried he can win one more next year. But anyway, so Green Bay fans pretty much summarized to me are like them, are like the Toronto whatever they are, or like the Yankees, or the Lakers, because they're based on their history. They're spoiled, but you know my opinions on them, and I love when Green Bay fans are crying and whining. They were booing their own team when they were down by 1. What kind of a fan base are you? I don't know. As much as I like a clean sweep on an opponent, I'm cool with the narrow victory. Gets a more sense of satisfaction and achievement. Oh well.
I mean, it's very difficult. I don't get why you would boo your own team
I don't get because
unless
they're spoiled. They want
I
touchdown, 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 touchdown. If you get in a defensive struggle, just getting a field goal, putting up 3 points will be a godsend in the long run. Especially if it's one of those 10-13 games.
yep. You never know how the game's gonna end,
Yes.
and when that 3 points would have been needed.
Yeah, but you know, fans don't understand that. But anyway, so what I was gonna say was because that only one team that at least the one team I like is still around, we're gonna review some teams that are not in it. We talked about Houston like the last part of the part before, so I don't
Yeah,
want
it
to start
was.
there. So we'll start with the team that first got eliminated in the playoffs, Detroit.
Oh
So
man,
we're gonna, well, me at least, I'm gonna rate their offense overall. I might give a separate grade for Stafford and then their defense overall. How well they did overall, and then I'll give them a final grade, like average for everything.
right.
Anyway, so since this is your team, Bill, I will let you start first.
I'd give their offense a B minus. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be this year. Typically it's high powered, but Stafford was learning a new system, and typically second years in new systems improve results on the offensive side of the football. I think Stafford made tremendous strides this year. To be fair, I think he's starting to figure out how to be a quarterback in the NFL. He's starting to learn how to read defenses, which is a scary prospect for any team. He's got a cannon for an arm. But overall, Golden Tate is an amazing pickup. He carried the team for a while. Calvin Johnson's Calvin Johnson. We still have all the pieces in place. They just didn't hit off on all cylinders because most of them were hurt all year.
If they just beat Buffalo, they would have won the division. They would have been the number 2.
I mean, if they beat Buffalo, if they beat Carolina,
I think no, they just needed to win one more game, and they would have been in. They'd never had to. If they beat Buffalo or Carolina, especially Carolina. That Green Bay game wouldn't have mattered.
Exactly. So the offense, I'm giving a B-.
All right. So do you want me to go, or you want to continue going?
Now defensively, they came out and just shocked me amazingly.
Yeah, I think they shocked everybody.
I did not expect to have one of the best defenses in the NFL for my football team after watching the 0-16 Lions have one of the worst defenses I've ever watched.
Oh, well, we all know what the worst one ever was so far.
Oh, that was last year's. Last year's Cowboy team was the worst I've ever seen in my life. But I mean, overall, the defense, I'm giving an A-. We have studs all over the field. We have Fairley, we have Sue, we got DeAndre Levy. When he comes back, Stephen Tulloch. We got Glover Quinn. We got Rasheed Mathis. We have rising stars. We have veterans. It's a really well coached, well played defense, and it was amazing to watch. And I'm just so proud to see that I had a top 5 defense. After watching the team the last 10 years, and having to suffer through some of the worst defenses, of Lions history, and to finally get to watch a team play defense and play it right, it was really fun to watch. Now, coaching-wise, I give the Lions an A-. Not bad for the first year for Jim Caldwell. Jim Caldwell was a step up from the douchebag named Jim Schwartz.
Speaking of Schwartz, he's a free agent because they got Rick Ryan.
Yeah, overall, the defense, in terms of, I wonder if his team carried him out of the locker room.
What, to throw him out? Maybe.
Exactly. But overall, the coaching, it was an A- because he was calm, cool, collected, no matter what was going on. I mean, even during when you have the shittiest call in the history of football made against you, and he's just standing there, it's like, okay, I still gotta get through this, and we can get through this, and that's the calm that this team needed. With Schwartz, it was like you were standing in the middle of a hurricane. With freaking Caldwell, he's just standing there, and it's bright blue skies and birds are chirping. I mean, it's been like night and day between those two, And I thought he did an amazing job. He pulled the team and made them into a winning championship caliber team. Now, the one thing that was not championship caliber, and I'm giving an D- to, is the special teams. The first 3 weeks, I saw the worst kicking I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen a football go to the side and almost go out of bounds for a field goal until this year with the Lions kicking team. Uh, the guy that kicks off has his penchant for kicking the football out of bounds. Detroit couldn't cover kicks. They couldn't do anything. The special teams unit was a disaster. We lost a few games because of the special teams.
Buffalo.
I mean, the Buffalo game comes to mind. The Green Bay game comes to mind at the end of the year. And really, the Dallas game comes to mind because if Detroit, plays better on special teams, they win that game without the call. But the special teams in that game, in this season, have been overall piss poor. They need to upgrade the talent on that unit. And for an overall grade for my team, and if you average these out, you would say, oh, well, that looks like a B minus. I'm giving it a B plus. The team overall they basically did what I didn't think they were going to be able to do. I mean, I predicted, 12 wins at the beginning of the year, and we got 11. I mean, I was hoping that the team would be good, but, you just didn't know what was going to happen. The team was underperforming last year, and I was worried that they were not underperform this year, and they performed admirably. I'm excited where this bad call is going to take us to the future because they're going to have a chip on their shoulder next year, and they're all facets of the game minus the defense can be improved upon. So I'm giving it an overall of B plus, and next year they can upgrade to A minus A territory.
All right, so for me, I give their offense a C minus. I would have given them not C minus, C plus. I would have given them a B minus, but I had to think about how many games did they do where you thought they're gonna blow out this team and actually blew out a team. The only games that come to mind when they did that was the opening game against New York, the Thanksgiving game, the Tampa Bay game. What's another? There were a couple other games that come to mind. I just don't remember. Oh well, anyway. But overall, most of the time, they did not really win all those games that they should have just taken care of business, namely Carolina and Buffalo. And they had to ride on the defense, which kind of bad, but at least they established the run game towards the end, so it looks like they'll be having something to lean on as well as the pass, or especially if Megatron's out again, which hopefully that won't happen. Golden Tate is a big reason why this team did not get a C minus from me, because goddamn best free agent pickup of the year for the Lions, and probably in all of the NFL in the past couple of years, maybe. So I give it a C plus, and I'm telling you, Golden Tate is a big reason why that didn't go to C minus or even a D, because that offense did not do well when it needed to play. It was either there to it literally swept opponents off their feet and got them out, and just threw them out, or it did not come to play. The defense, what?
And to be fair, I feel like in the playoffs and in the last few weeks, they really got it together.
Yeah, but the one thing was against Green Bay, Stafford did not do well at all. So I thought it was all building up to a chance to explode against Green Bay, but it didn't happen. Anyway, the defense was consistently good, and honestly, if you're top 3 defense, you're getting an A from me no matter what, just because you're in the top 3. You know how hard it is to get up there. You've got 31 other teams to go up against to get in that spot, and they were number 1 for a while until the Legion of Boom got back together. Then they got number 2, but they still had the best run defense. They were scored upon the least, 17 points on average. Only one team shattered that highest point scored by technically now it's Dallas too, I believe. No, wait, I think no, I don't remember. Anyway, so the only team that passed Carolina's high score was New England, but that's New England for you. And no, there was Green Bay too. Never mind. So yeah, not many teams did it. I give Detroit's defense an A. Great. I just hope that that the team stays together because they're gonna really need it for next year, especially for your chip on the shoulder mentality. For my overall grade, I'm gonna give them just a B because the offense just didn't do much as it should have. I mean, I will say it was the way they ended it. It was building into something great because it is the first year with a new strategy. But if they don't get their act together next season, I don't know, Bill. I don't see the Lions going into the playoffs and being successful if they can't get their act together in their second year. Because I mean, Houston and Dallas figured their shit out quickly, so don't know what's keeping Detroit back. I don't know what's holding them back.
Next year they could be easily 14-2. They have all the makings of a Seattle from 2 years ago. They have all the makings of it. They're following a similar path. The team underperformed last year. Then this year they made the playoffs, got a taste of early defeat. They got a chip on their shoulder, and Seattle had a chip on their shoulder after their playoff exit with Russell Wilson the first year. Last year they came in and played they played angry, they played with a chip on their shoulder, and they played like they wanted to stomp teams. And I feel like if Detroit goes in and has that chip on their shoulder, they are going to be the Seattle of last year, next year. Detroit's going to be a very dangerous team next year.
I hope so, but it's just that you have a very rough schedule against four defensive oriented teams who are literally the whole division that is the NFC West, and then you have the AFC West as well. So if Peyton comes back, guess who you're playing?
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, he might not come back, and Philip Rivers is not exactly getting younger any time, and David Carr and the Raiders are the Raiders.
Derek Carr?
Yeah, the Raiders.
Yeah, I think they're gonna build into something good in a couple years. You just won't play them.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have faith in the little guy. I think he'll be better. He just needs a team around him. So, and as for the Chiefs, I think the Chiefs are formidable only because of that damn defense and Jamal Charles.
And really, all you need to do is take away Jamal Charles, and if the Lions' run defense plays like it's been playing the last 2 years, and plays next year like they did, Jamal Charles.
That's in London, by the way.
Threat.
That game's in London, so I think the biggest X factor would be the whole offense of Detroit. Because if they can't put anything either, I don't know who's gonna win then. Anyway,
the Lions played decently well in London last time.
Yeah. Anyway, so with that, Houston. We won't be talking about Houston. That'll be last. Next week, we'll be talking about Dallas, for they got eliminated this week. Then, when we go to the week of the Super Bowl, we will talk about both Houston and New England to wrap it all up at the same time. Maybe. Depending on how New England does. If they get eliminated, which I doubt, then we'll separate them. Or no, we will talk about them together. But if they do win, we'll wait till after their Super Bowl with whoever they play, be it Green Bay or Seattle. Anyway, let us move on to the picks. We have only 2 games to talk about. So start with the NFC Championship, Bill.
Alright, the NFC title game is the Green Bay Packers at the Seattle Seahawks.
Seattle, I am bandwagoning on your team for one game. Make it count. I want an absolute annihilation of Green Bay. I want their fans to suffer above all else because nothing pleases me more than seeing those little arrogant shits crying their asses off and booing their own team. Because that's what a good fan base does. You piss on your team, not because you're mad because you just took a bitter pill to swallow. No, because you're spoiled and expect nothing but 99 to nothing games out of your games with them. I don't know. You get what I'm talking about. I want Seattle to absolutely wreck the Packers and ruin their fan base's days.
See, it's going all according to how I envisioned it. So, with what I envisioned, I have the Seattle Seahawks beating the Green Bay Packers pretty thoroughly in a defensive. Aaron Rodgers is going to be trying to run for his life because the Legion of Booms lay the boom down on Jordy Nelson and the receivers, and that's the strength of the team. Strength of the team will be taken away. Aaron Rodgers won't be able to run. Eddie Lacy's not himself, and Starks is Starks. So, Seattle Seahawks.
Alright, move on to the AFC.
And they will be the NFC champ. The AFC championship game, the Indianapolis Colts at the New England Patriots.
Patriots will take care of business. I respect Andrew Luck's what he's trying to do so far. The sad thing is I have to deal with him twice every year since I'm a Houston Texans fan. But the Patriots will do what I want them to do. Knock off the Colts. Crush Chuck Pagano's hopes and dreams for another year. As the Patriots will go to the Super Bowl and play Seattle. Like I said, though, the Colts will be back sometime, and they will claim their own Super Bowl. It's just not this year. I'm going Patriots.
I also feel that Andrew Luck and them are going to come out and play well against the Patriots defense, but the Colts have no defense, and Tom Brady has Rob Gronkowski. He's got a scary running game, and the Colts defense might have played well against Manning. I don't feel they're done play well against Brady, and I feel Tom Brady and the Patriots will win in New England, and they will be the AFC champ.
Excellent. So, I'm looking forward to these games, though I probably will only watch. Actually, no, I will be watching both because I'm gonna see Seattle crush their hopes, and I hope there's a lot of cheeseheads at the clink because I want to see their faces when Aaron Rodgers is playing horribly against a great defense. So I'm gonna watch both games and I'm gonna enjoy them. What about you, Bill? Will you be watching the Packers being slaughtered by Seattle?
I might. It all depends. I mean, I want to see a lot of things. I hope that Seattle will crush their hopes and dreams of making the Super Bowl, because nothing makes me more happy to watch a team in my division lose in the NFC title game.
Yeah, and that usually is the Packers these days because the Vikings suck. Well, they're getting better. And the Bears suck, which I hope they stay down because I don't like the Bears.
To be fair, it's gonna be the Lions and Packers for a pretty long time, I think.
Yeah, here's hoping the Lions come out on top most of those times, especially if it comes to only one can go into the playoff scenario. Oh man, do you know how enjoyable that'll be for the Lions to eliminate the Packers and just ruin the fan base's day? Oh god.
Really, if you look at the NFC, really, I think it's gonna be a Cowboys, Philly. It's gonna be Detroit, Green Bay. It's going to be Atlanta and New Orleans, and in the West, it's going to be really only two teams, and it's going to be Arizona and Seattle.
Fun thing to tell you, I don't think there's going to be two NFC North because I think it's going to be different. Lots of birds. See, like if I had to predict the NFC playoffs for next year, in no particular order, the division winners will be Seattle, Detroit, Dallas, and New Orleans, and the wild card teams will be Philly and Arizona. So that's why I said there's a good chance it might come down to only one NFC North team going, and I hope it's Detroit. So Detroit will ruin Green Bay fans' days, which I sign up for that in a heartbeat. I'll be the first in line. Better work this time.
Man.
So anyway, a final note about the Dallas game that I forgot to point out till now. You know how you mentioned that Detroit's now going to have a chip on their shoulder? I'm pretty sure Dallas will have one, especially against Green Bay.
Dallas is going to have a chip on. Really, this works out to both teams' advantages in the long run.
Well, I just hope Dez adapts that, gets more mature from that, and just gets that the mentality Seattle does, because that's why Seattle's in the title game, because they don't like anybody, not even themselves.
Get the killer instinct, but also be classy. You know, at the end, stay classy, because not only does it help, it makes you look better. And I like Dez. I really do like Dez. Dez is a genuinely likable in person. But when he says stuff like that towards, Green Bay, no matter if it's deserved or not, it's be put on the media the day of, and he'll be turned into the bad guy. Don't let yourself be turned into the bad guy.
Yeah, they still found a way to make Sherman look like this slug.
Exactly.
Even though he was the winning player. But anyway, oh, and are we also gonna put are we finally putting the Romo choking at the very end, because it wasn't all his fault here. I think he threw that ball good. It was a great throw. It was up to the player to me by then. Dez tried to go the extra mile, and that's what did him in. That's what did the Cowboys in.
I feel it was more the play call itself from Jason Garrett rather than any of Romo or Dez, really, to be honest.
And then,
I feel the play call was illogical for the situation you were in.
And then lastly, there was one other thing, aside from me getting on the defense. DeMarco Murray doing what I feared was going to happen. I had a vibe. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to jinx it, but it happened. He fumbled the ball, and it was such a crucial point. You're near the end zone, well within field goal range. If you picked up that touchdown, at the very least, Green Bay would have had to try and tie the game, which if they did get that touchdown and it didn't get the 2-point conversion, they would have needed a field goal. And if Dallas ran the clock out, or at the very least got another field goal, it would have forced them to go all the way for a touchdown, which, Dallas can milk the clock.
Yeah.
So
they have the personnel to do it.
So yeah, that's why I say that the Dez catch was a big one, but there was actually another that that everybody's not talking about, and that was DeMarco Murray fumbling the ball. In fact, that's why I'm a little worried about his future as a Cowboy.
He's not coming back. Dez Bryant's going to get signed. That's going to happen. DeMarco is not going to be a Cowboy next year.
I think they'll draft a running back, but I think they have a good enough one to hold out, which will be Dunbar and Randall. But I think they'll have to draft one if they don't do that, and at least put him as the third string and see what he does.
They're gonna committee it like everyone else does. DeMarco's a workhorse back, and Adrian Peterson, don't forget, he's gonna be a free agent as well after this year.
Do you think Dallas is willing to put up with the rep for him?
Yes.
Wow. He did say he wanted to be a Houston Texan or a Dallas Cowboy, which Houston's good. Look at what they've got. They've got They have Arian Foster, who I think is better than not Dez, DeMarco Murray, because he plays through injuries too, and
but
I don't know.
think of it this way. Adrian Peterson will come to the. He's gonna be a bargain for what you're gonna get after what he did. You know, he's not going to get paid a ton of cash. You're going to get a really good running back for cheap.
I'm not. I'm hoping that might. I mean, I'm not even sure because I don't know. I'm not sure with DeMarco right now. I need time to think about it. That's why I don't think they said anything yet. Because they want to think about it.
I mean, really, the best thing that they can do is sign Dez and see if they can get DeMarco, or they just don't sign DeMarco and go all in on Dez. Or they go all in on Dez, try to sign him, and then put the franchise tag on DeMarco.
I don't know. That's why we don't know anything. They're barely signing the coaches right now. They got Garrett and Marinelli's next.
I mean, it's only a matter of time.
Oh, we'll find out soon anyway. So with that, we'll call it a day. Next week, we'll see you at the end of the title games. And to be a little special, we'll be covering both, I guess, since there's only two. Are you okay with that, Bill?
That'd be fun.
Because, I mean, I want to talk about Seattle just destroying Green Bay. It's an honor.
No.
So, yeah.
Oh, man.
I hope you're ready for that, because I am.
I
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.